interesting week. I did consult the Oracle for the second time since being in the class. And as always, I always have questions, I always have questions about that. And I'll let you know what the question was. I decided to consult the Oracle because summer is coming up for me. And so in the summers, I have off. So I consulted the Oracles about investing in this peddler's license because this summer we're going to have the Democratic convention here in Philadelphia, and I wanted to be involved in selling some things there at the convention, and so I consulted the Oracle about whether or not I should invest in this peddler's license, and so I came up. My question to you, Nana, was. Okay, when I consulted the Oracle, I created the atmosphere like you suggested before. I had a nice atmosphere. I had my candle. I had a stone that I always carry with me from my grandfather's front yard. And I had some water there on the table. And, I made sure that my mind was clear. I did some deep breathing exercises and just made sure everything was clear before I tossed the coins. I came up with this hexagram. Line 1 was a broken line. Line 2 was a broken line. And when I got to line 3, I got 3 heads. And I remember that you said when you have 3 heads like that, you put a dot in the middle and kind of like, it becomes almost like a dotted line, And then when I got to the 4th line, it was a straight line, and the 5th line was a straight line, and the 6th line was a straight line. And I don't know why, when I got to the 4th line that was a straight line, I put an X there. And I must have been looking at a chart that I have. I have a chart. I had 3 tails. So since it was 3 tails, I put the X there. And then above that, I got 2 more straight lines.
That was right. That was correct.
That was correct?
That was correct.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Okay. And so then when I looked at the hexagrams, I came out with number 12 and 20.
That's right. No, that's wrong.
Okay.
But that's 12 was the first one though.
Okay, so 12 was the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
now let's watch. Let me show you what happened with the second one.
Okay.
So your first line was broken.
Yes.
Second line.
Yes.
Was broken.
Yes.
Your third line.
Yes.
Broken, but you had a little.
I had 3. Yes. Yeah, because it was 3 heads.
Right. Your 4th line.
Yes.
Was 3 tails, so you put an X on it. Your 5th line was straight, and your 6th line is straight.
Yes.
So that means that you have to make another hexagram. This is hexagram 12, so that part is correct.
Okay, so the first one, I was correct on that.
Mm-hmm. So now you have to make another hexagram. So you start with the 3 bottom lines. The first one, is the same. It doesn't change because there's no mark on it. The second one is the same. It doesn't change because there's no mark on it. The third one changes to its opposite. It's a broken line. Now it changes to a straight line.
Okay.
The next one is a straight line, so it's going to change to its opposite. So now it's a
broken line.
Right, and that's why this is the same. What happened was, see this line right here? You didn't make that change. That's why you got 20.
Okay.
See, if you didn't make this change this one to a straight line. You brought it over as a broken line. So now you have broken, 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 straight, straight. And that's why you got 20. So what's this hexagram here? Look up these 2 trigrams.
Okay, that one is that one is sun.
The top one is soon, and the bottom is so it's soon over
Ken.
Right. And what's that hexagram? Soon is at the top. So that the top trigrams at the top. See on the chart, the top trigrams at the top.
So I come across the Ken.
So you if you start at the top, you come down. If you start at the bottom, you go up.
Okay.
So you at the top at Soon. Soon is the top trigram, and then you come down to Kin, which is
53.
right.
Okay, I read that wrong again. So that should be 53.
Yes.
So it's 12 and 53 that I would be looking at.
And what was your question?
My question is, I was consulting the Oracle as to whether or not I should invest in this peddler's license.
What was did you write the question down?
Yes. You want me to read it to you?
Yes, please. It always makes a difference what the question is.
The question is, should I invest in the peddler's license for financial success for the Democratic Convention of 2016?
Okay, so should you invest in a peddler's license for financial success for the Democratic Convention of 2016?
Yes.
Okay, that's about 4 questions. And
I know that, and that's what I was thinking and that's the other thing that I said. I said that's asking too many questions. Yeah. Maybe I should have just asked, should I just invest in the peddler's license?
That would be the first question, and not should. You don't ask should till the last minute.
Okay.
First, you just ask, please comment on, let's write these down, right?
Okay.
Comment on,
Okay.
I say this person, so you can say what, you can put your name there. Investing in a peddler's license. And of course, that's a Pennsylvania or is it Philadelphia?
Philadelphia.
So you have to say Philadelphia peddler's license. That's the first question. Your second question would be, please comment on how making this investment will impact my financial situation.
Okay.
You see that?
Yes. Okay.
And the next question is, so now the peddler's license, you just got to buy it. You don't have to do a test or you don't have to run.
No, you just have to buy it.
Yeah, okay. So you could, there's a guarantee, if you pay for it, you can definitely have the license, all right?
It's guaranteed long as you don't have any type of,
Okay. Now, where did you want to vend?
I'm gonna be down at the the place down at the Wells Fargo Center where they're holding the event at.
Okay, so you would consult the Oracle to please comment on the nature of the financial prospects, because success to us is different to success to them. Okay, that's not a really good sentence. Please comment on nature of the financial prospect if Tahuti vends
At the Democratic Convention.
Yeah. Okay, don't say prospect, say benefit.
Okay, benefits.
Mm-hmm. So then what happens is you ask them to comment on you making the investment. You ask them to, how would the investment impact on your financial situation? You ask the nature of the financial benefit that you'll receive, if you vend there. Then you ask, should you? Because by this point, you're looking at what the Oracle advice is. And if you're still uncertain about it, then you can ask, should you do it? I always encourage people to ask should questions after they've reviewed the information with the Oracle, because there's so many nuances to the situation. I mean, even in terms of the DC, you know how deep down there can get.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, like I know with Trump, they had security guards and stuff. So, they may have you. I know one time when they had it here before, they'd only allow the people to gather in a certain place behind a gate that was way over there somewhere. So, I mean, you're wanting to benefit financially from it. But now if they put you way off somewhere where you can't set up, then you won't be able to benefit because you can't even get nowhere near where they have in a convention.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And so then the thing too is that, is this a one-time shot? Are you going to have to, we lost Tony. Are you going to have to spend a lot of money to get the license? Will you get your money back?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Hoping
that the money comes back.
Yeah,
It's not that expensive though. The license isn't too expensive. And then I can use it for the rest of the year. Like if that venue is not that successful, I can still use it throughout Philadelphia.
Doing various things. And what are you selling?
Books.
Okay. So then that would be another thing. Do you sell anything else other than books?
No, that's all I'm going to be selling.
Okay.
There.
So then you want to ask the Oracle about that. To please comment on the financial benefit to vending the books.
Okay.
Because they might think you should vend shoes, and I'm just kidding.
I don't know what they're gonna say.
Yeah, but then that may but this way you can determine whether this is a venue for books.
Okay.
You may be able to. There may be other venues where you'll be more successful selling books. You see what I mean?
Yes.
You kind of need to determine whether or not selling books would be a financial benefit to you.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I'd like to incorporate Tony into this process.
Okay, please.
So we can, Tony, you got 3 coins? Can you hear me?
Oh, me.
I mean, Terry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said, I'm thinking, I'm like, who's Tony? Hold on, let me grab my thing. See, you was dreaming about Tony last night.
You should not stop you calling yourself Tony in my
Hold on, let me go grab my coins.
I was Nana.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture of the book that I'll be selling at the convention.
Oh, the Obama fact. Did you write that book?
Yes, that's my book.
Wow, I'd be interested in seeing what you have to say about Obama.
Wow.
Yeah. I wrote it back in 2012.
Did you really?
Yes, ma'am.
Self-published?
So I wanna take it to the convention, and even though my ideas have changed a lot, about that, I was gonna update it, but I would have to consult the Oracle to see if the Oracle would suggest that I update it before going there. But yeah, it's about Barack Obama.
Is that the only book you'll be selling?
Yeah, I'm not going to be selling
anything.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just this book right here.
Oh wow, yeah, you need to ask about that.
What, you have it online?
Yeah, it's online.
It's on Amazon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Obama Factor. Write that down. What's your last name?
Thomas. Can you see a copy of it right here? Like if you go on and just type in the Obama Factor, okay, and the subtitle is How Barack Obama Elevated Human Consciousness. So it'll be the only book like that it's the only one out there. Okay. And I started writing it back in 2008 when I was still living in New York, because I wanted to know who this person was. Who is this person? Trying to come into the political scene like that, and I started just looking into his life and just reading all kind of information about him. And, I just researched everything I could about him and talked with people that knew him and including Dr. Jeremiah Wright. And so I was just getting a lot of information, as much as I could. And then I went on and put this book together. I mean, even though now it would be completely different, my ideas are completely different than what they were at the time I did that, because basically, he pretty much was not able to do, a lot of the things that most people thought he would be able to do, and his, he was pretty much co-opted. He was co-opted completely, from. And the book is not really political as much as it is almost like a spiritual treaty. It looks at his father, how his father, wanted to become the president of Kenya. And there's this idea, that I grew up with, like sometimes that my family taught me as a little boy, like sometimes some things that my father might have wanted to do, he might not have been able to do it. It might have been passed down to me as the son. And it's just like me, I have a son, like some things that I might want to do, it might carry over to my son to accomplish it. And so Obama also, part of his life was lived through his father. That's why his first autobiography was entitled Dreams from My Father. And he talks about that a lot. Wait 20 years before he was ever going to become the president. I mean, he wrote a unguarded autobiography, and he talked about his life and talked about, going to Africa for the first time and just having an epiphany at his father's gravesite, how his father came back to him and spoke to him. And so that's the Obama that most people don't know. And so since my ideas, my background is in religion, I delved into his life from that vantage point. It's like, from a spiritual vantage point, it's like, wow, how did he become president? Why did he become president? And what does all these other things that most people would never talk about, because they don't look at life that way? Because I look at everything as being interconnected from the time you're a child, your father, your grandmother, how all those things just make up who we are. And it was almost as though this was something that he even says it. These were the dreams of his father that brought him into the position where he was at. He said it was the dreams of like Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, and those kind of people, even though he was raised by white men. This is what he said in his autobiography. And a lot of times people don't understand, him because of the way he appears today. And I do believe he has been co-opted. But when I was writing this book, 8 years ago, I was looking at so many other different things. Besides, he was just a senator at that time, or just becoming a senator. But I knew he was going to become the president. One of the reasons why I used to debate with my coworkers as to why he was going to beat out Hillary Clinton, I reminded them, I said, if history is any precedent, if we can learn from history, it was black men that got the right to vote, even before white women. And Hillary, I remember Susan B. Anthony, Hillary Clinton's namesee, she loves her. She was so upset that you would give these black men, these slaves, the right to vote before these precious white women. And that's why I said, if we can learn anything from history, I used to tell my colleagues, they thought I was crazy. I said, no, he will get the vote over Hillary Clinton. He would get it before she would, because when you talk, we live in a patriarchal society, and even though this society is very racist, it's also very patriarchal. And I understood something about that, and which is why when I started writing the book, I also knew that he would get the vote before Hillary would. It was just something about the way this history in this country is. I mean, and so, but my focus was mainly on him growing up in Indonesia and having that, that type of background and having these, these diverse experiences that he had, and that he was being prepared for this. He was being prepared for this position in a way that, that most people that were writing about him at the time, they would overlook it because they don't have the background that I have, and they don't look at the world the way that I look at it. But when he was young, he talked about wanting to be nurtured by a black man. One of the things that he wanted more than anything in his life, this is what he said in his autobiography. He said that he prayed to find a black man. He didn't have a father, he wanted to be nurtured by one. And I looked at it from the viewpoint that when he went to Chicago and was under the tutelage of Reverend Jeremiah Wright for over 20 years, that was the black man that brought him into what it meant to be a black man for him.
What about Frank Marshall? Did you do any research on him?
The one back in Hawaii. I wanted to find some stuff on him, because he would go over there and he had an influence on him as well. The reason why I put most of my focus on Dr. Jeremiah Wright, because this is the man that he sat under his tutelage for 20 years, and I'm sure that Frank Marshall also influenced him in a great way. But I just couldn't get that information. I wish I could have got it, but I could get a whole lot more. I live around the corner from one of the churches here in Philly, where Jeremiah Wright grew up, and I had the opportunity to touch bases with him. We correspond and with each other even to this day, and so I was able to get a lot more information from Dr. Jeremiah Wright than I was with the Frank Marshall. But I was able to just take a look at a piece of his life and at the time and understand that it was a position that he came into. It was one that he was meant to come into, and it was one that was a part of his destiny in a way that it's kind of like hard to understand logically. It wasn't something that I understood logically, but intuitively, when I started to look back into his life and started to see what it was that he wanted for his life, that somehow this was the position that he was born to come into. And his father had a lot to do with it, and his grandfather. He talks about his grandfather, which was also a shaman. His grandfather back in Kenya was a shaman, and some of the experiences that the grandfather had. And even some of his dreams. He talks about his dreams of his father, some of the dreams that he had about his father, that I knew that this was no ordinary situation as far as him coming into this position that he was coming into.
Well, one of the things I'd like to mention in terms of the I Ching is that the next time you get ready to write a book, now you can consult the Oracle and get them to guide you in the direction of how to put the book together, because you can ask, what the focus of the book should be, you know what I mean? And you can ask about your ideas about it and have the Oracle to help you to fine tune it so that you can stay, because the Oracle, if you had asked the Oracle about that book in 2008, you probably would have wrote a different book.
Oh, Nana, I'm so glad that you said that, because I think I shared with you guys a couple of weeks ago, I went to the United Nations, and I was speaking there. And after I left, I realized I have to write a book on this experience, on religion and terrorism. And I thought the same thing. I said, if I could have consulted the Oracle back then about some of these other ideas that I have now, I want to write the book. Actually, next month I wanted to start doing it, but now I have the opportunity to get some guidance. I can get guidance in a way that I never got before.
Yeah. And it makes a difference. And it's not so much that we're not talking about you writing a book that's going to be the top 10 bestsellers on Amazon. We're talking about you as a spiritual being writing a book that's going to impact on the lives of others, that's going to make a difference in the lives and that's the way the Oracle will guide you. It will guide you towards that more so than, the financial success that we look at, like, oh, wow, I really made it. My book sold 400,000 million,
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that the Oracle looks was the longevity. Like, is this a book that will be on the shelves? Or is this a book that'll be transitory where, it was relevant then, but it's still relevant now? Is this a classic that will last forever? Does this book have a message in it that transcends the ages? And that's where the Oracle will focus you, because they would fine tune your abilities to have a lasting impact rather than a superficial or precarious or contemporary impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the challenge would be, like, after you got those readings, then you'd have to sleep on it and get the inspiration and guidance that way in terms of pulling the pieces together. But you would have a guideline. It would give you a blueprint on it. I'm pretty sure you would have wrote a totally different book.
Oh, Nana, you hit the nail on the head, and that's why I'm happy to be taking this class, and that's why I see myself being a part of this type of training for the unforeseeable future, because this is something that I always have wanted in my life. And, you know, I wish I could have like went to some, you know, sometimes, you know, it's like, well, who can I get counsel from? You know, maybe I can go here and get it. And I was listening to someone about a week ago, and they said the people that they wanted to get counsel from wasn't even in a good enough position as they were, you know. And so sometimes even the counselors that we seek out, you know, but here, you know, just to seek out the Oracle, you know, the idea that I can seek out perfect counseling, you know, in a way that I know, even if I don't completely understand it, you know, I might not understand it, you know, all the way. And then I have to consult with people like yourself and others that can help me as well to help me with my understanding.
And let me share this with you as well. One of the things that's happening with these workshops is it's showing the connection that we have. And I think at one point, maybe somewhere in the middle there, I'm going to call everybody to one meeting. Lord have mercy if the machine works. But just in the one before, they got the 12th hexagram. So the 12, both of those people, those students that I'm working with in the workshop right before this one, they both received 12, and you got 12 as well. So that, you know, that energy is around us, you know what I mean? And we're connected because the fact that the hexagrams are coming up like that is showing the connection that we share. And then I'll go to the next workshop and the same thing will happen. And this has been going on. I've been doing this ever since almost a year now. And it's been happening over and over again. People in their own lives, in their own personal lives, will do a reading and then come to the workshop and ask about it, and we'll discuss the hexagrams, and it'll come up that this is happening in their lives and in the lives of people they don't even know. Like the people in the other workshops haven't even met you guys. But they're, you know, you're sharing, you know, so there's definitely a connection that we all have, that we all share, you know, and it shows, it's definitely showing itself to me in terms of the readings that keep coming up. It's like, wow, he got 12 too. Okay. You know. All right, so let's toss some coins over there. Terry, toss the coins. We're going to ask on Tahuti getting investing in a Philadelphia peddler's license.
All right.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Yeah, greetings.
Okay, Alex.
Faded, huh, Alex?
Yeah, greetings, Nana.
Greetings. We saw you there, but we couldn't see. We saw a little, you know, the avatar, but we couldn't see you.
Yeah.
Could you hear us?
Yes, I followed everything. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
Finally, I tried it with the tablet, and I think they got that I want to come to the meeting. Then it works.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but question about 12, Nana. It's actually 12 is also about a turning point. Is a question. It's coming to a point where there is something to change, or there.
I think what you're saying, what I'm getting from you is that it's time. 12. When you get 12, it's saying you've been sitting on this thing long enough. You've been contemplating at this thing long. You've been sitting on it. You've been procrastinating. Now you're stuck in a rut, and it's time to get out of it. So yes, it's time to make a change when you get 12. You know, because we were talking about that earlier in terms of difference between 12 and 29. But in the 12th hexagram, it's just been going on so long. It's been, and they use stagnation, so we know that it takes a while for something to stagnate. Like, you know, if you leave out food, it doesn't go rotten right away. It has to sit there for a while before it begins to rot. And that's why it's called, that's how we can look at stagnation, that it didn't happen overnight. It takes a while for it to get to that point. A lot of times it comes up because there was opportunity to get yourself out of it, but you didn't. You know, there was opportunity to make a change. There was opportunity after opportunity, but you kind of just was so stuck in your rut that you just didn't move, or you weren't proactive enough to get yourself out of it. And then you still have to be careful because with stagnation, you may want to get out of it, but you may use the wrong means and methods to get out. So have you been like mulling in your head about this license for some time now?
Oh, yes, I have, Nana. Yes, I have. And, you know, been doing it, had the paperwork a couple times and threw it away, and, you know, got it a couple weeks ago, not because I wanted to get it, but because I was in the area for something else. And so basically, but no, the Oracle is perfect. The Oracle is perfect because it's X-raying me. I know it's perfect because nothing else could. This is like an X-ray, an internal X-ray. And like you said, stagnated water. If you let the water set out, I mean, it has to set out for a while and before it becomes stagnated. And that's the thing. I mean, because once, you know, in this condition, it can lead to certain frustration.
Yeah, it can. And the thing is that, you know, inside of the 12th hexagram is the self-saboteur. That self-saboteur lurks inside the 12th hexagram.
That is 100% perfect as well.
And the thing is, what the self-saboteur does is it does things, it just jumps up and it just makes you do stuff so that you fail. And what happens is you get that self-fulfilling prophecy, which says, see there, I knew that wasn't going to work out. And then you continue to stagnate. That's another indicator of the 12th hexagram, Alex, that little hidden dragon, that little hidden monster in the 12th hexagram that kind of upsets the apple cart, in the sense that it'll say, hey, you got to do this, hurry up, do this, because if you don't hurry up and do this right now, if you don't hurry up and make a change right now, you know, everything's going to go terrible. It's already bad, you know. So the Oracle is inferring that there's the inner saboteur is in there, the self-saboteur. Because
what is it? I'm sorry, I don't understand this word.
Sabotage. You understand the word sabotage?
Sabotage.
So when you sabotage yourself, then I call that your inner saboteur.
Wait till you hear this. What the Oracle said. I tossed the coin, and it's amazing where it came back. And it's relevant to what you all talking about. Right?
Okay, well, let me get this here, and then because I want to show it, and we're going to work on that one. Wow. All right.
That is deep. So
look at the third line. You got the third line here, and it says, inferior people who have risen to power illegitimately do not feel equal to the responsibility they have taken upon themselves. In their hearts, they begin to be ashamed, although at first they do not show it outwardly. This marks a turn for the better, okay? So the inferior entity inside the person or inside the situation has moved to a position of power, meaning that they're in control. So if your inferior person or your inferior aspect of your personality is procrastination, so then that's the inner saboteur. The inner saboteur procrastinates and procrastinates and procrastinates so that you don't get the thing done. Next thing you know, you're stagnating. Mm. You see how that works?
Yes.
So you have to work through that aspect, whatever part of it. It could be fear that sabotages you, that makes you stagnant, that keeps you from doing whatever it is. It could be, apprehension. It could be lack of security, that you don't feel secure. And since you're going to be selling your book, it could be that you have some reservations about how, about your book itself. You know what I mean? Will it sell? Maybe it will. That kind of thing. And so those are those little feelings that stop you from getting out there. And you said you wrote this book in 2008, so that's 8 years ago.
Yeah,
so what's stopping you from getting out there with this material? So you do this little inner search within yourself to see what that is. Now, basically, the Oracle will answer you because the Oracle knows that you're a neophyte and you're just getting started. So they will work with you knowing that what you're really trying to find out And it will kind of circumvent the fact that you didn't ask the question in the most succinct way, a way that will help you get a really good understanding of what they're saying. So they're trying to just kind of get with you and just talk to you right where you are and bring you, further along in the process. Okay, so that's why we're looking at the hexagrams that you did get. They should not be discarded or dismissed. They're just as important as the other ones that we'll get this, today. Okay?
Okay.
All right, now let's look at the fourth one. He who acts at the command of the highest remains without blame. Those of like mind partake of the blessing. The time of standstill is nearing the point of change into its opposite. That's what you were talking about, Alex. It's time for a change. Whoever wishes to restore order must feel himself called to the task and have the necessary authority. Now, what that means is that, say, for example, you have an addiction to alcohol and you've been doing really well, and you feel like I need to go out, I need to enjoy myself, I need to have a good time. But if you go out, you may find yourself in a situation that's going to pull you back into where you once were. So you have to follow your higher self and your higher guide or your inner authority and do what's necessary so that you don't end up sliding back. Okay, so you have the challenge ahead of you. Your buds is at the door. Hey man, let's go, man. You gonna sit up how long you? Come on, man. And you're like, no, I think I want to sit this one out. Oh man, the whole thing that you go through. So a man who sets himself up as capable of creating order according to his own judgment could make mistakes and end in failure. So if you're not feeling strong enough in terms of this here whole thing, if you still have those underlying issues and concerns, and you're not feeling, strong enough to step out there, then you may not be able to sustain yourself while you're out there. It's like, you're ready to do the 50 whatever it is, walk, but you haven't done the 10-mile walk yet. So you haven't done your exercises, you haven't worked out. So you can't do 50 miles, but you might be able to do 10 miles. Mm-hmm. You might be able to do 12 miles, but not the whole thing, But a man who is truly called to the task is favored by the conditions of the time, and all those of like mind will share in his blessing. So when you're called, but the Oracle's saying, when you get to that place where you're called, you're ready, then everything will run smoothly. But you got to get whatever it is that's been making you stagnant. You got to face that inner shadow, have a conversation with it, bring it into the light, and then move forward. Okay, and the 53 is saying is that it's going to take a little work and a little while for you to work through that process.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, what did you get, Terry?
I got hexagram number 5. Well, I threw the coins, and my first line was straight line.
Okay.
Second line was a straight line.
Okay.
Third line was a straight line. Fourth line was a broken line. Fifth line was a straight line. And the last line was a broken line.
Was there any change in lines?
No change in line.
Wow.
No change in line.
Now, what were you thinking when you got that?
Well, commented on Tahuti selling his book at the Democratic convention.
Oh, is that the question you asked?
Right. That was the question, because I think that was kind of on the lines of what we were talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So how was selling? Okay, so you asked, comment on. Okay.
And the bottom 3 lines was Qian, and the top 3 lines were Kan. Kan. It was Kan. Well, K with the apostrophe A.
Yeah,
That's still
Kan.
Kan? Okay. And when I worked it out, it was hexagram 5, which is calculated weighting. And I mean, it was. I thought it was relevant what you guys were talking about at the time. It made sense, you talking about that number 12, and I guess the Oracle. I'm just throwing the coins. The Oracle giving calculated weighting. The period of calculated weighting must pass before the cosmos can address itself to your needs. Many areas are undergoing significant change. Shifting powers are generating new ideas. Animosities are appearing, alliances are forming, systems are breaking down, and collective causes are being organized. It is the eternal flux of change as manifested in human affairs. That which you desire is caught in this change. In essence, it is a dangerous time since the elements involved are not directly under your control. You may be facing some kind of threat or awaiting the outcome of a decision that could greatly affect you. If you worry about it, you will grow inwardly confused and succumb to the chaos and fear. You will waste valuable energy, though agnation. And when the time does come to act, your judgment may be prepared. There's a lot more to this, I'm just kind of
that says a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
You can stop right there, Terry. That says a lot. That just really brings it home, doesn't it? I mean, even if we're looking at what we're waiting for the outcome of a major election, and we have, collective folks coming together, and we got the Democrats, we got the Republicans, we got the, the other fringe folks coming on. We got all this stuff that's happening all around it, you see. And when you want to take yourself and put yourself in the middle of all that, what the Oracle is going to do is show you what you're putting yourself in the middle of. Mm-hmm. And so in terms of, and just in terms of that, just that right there, if you really wanted to go deeper into it, you could ask the Oracle, what's the nature of this and what's the nature of that, in terms of just going through the couple of paragraphs that Terry read, to get even further insight into it. But right now, basically, the 5th hexagram is saying that you're in a period of waiting. Now, I was going to say to you, Tahuti, that sometimes we don't move because it doesn't feel like it's the time to move. So maybe there's a part of yourself, I'm saying that because of the 5 I see, but maybe there's a part of yourself that knew that it wasn't the right time to get out there and vend that book. Maybe that there was an inner resistance that was coming from a place of knowing, a knowingness that kind of got in the way, of you actually getting out there and doing that. I think that probably after he gets out of office, that the book will probably catch a lot, because people will want to read a lot of stuff about him when he gets out. You know what I mean? Like, they tend to get, what do you call it, meteoric fame after being a president than they do while they're being a president. So your book may pick up a lot of readership after he gets out of office. But right now, the next president,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
But right now, because he's he's just transitioning out, and they haven't come to a conclusion as to who's going to go in there, we're all like the whole, like, you know, we're just all sort of like waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess compared to if we get a Donald Trump, that'll probably be, that book will probably really be important to people because they'll see the contrast between him and what we end up with. Mm-hmm. Not Donald Trump.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, I know that I started writing it in 2008, I meant to say, and then it was in 2012 when it was first published. And so it's been about 4 years. And I'm not the kind of person that, you know, I'm kind of like shy in some sense, you know, even though I teach, I stand before, you know, people every day, I guess maybe in the sense of kind of like promote myself. I'm not that kind of person, but, you know, once it went online and went on the internet, I kind of like said, well, let it just go through the social media thing. Let it work itself through that. And so that was kind of like my idea with it. It was like, I don't want to be involved in like self-promoting it, you know, physically. Let me throw it out there on the internet. Let it be out there and let it kind of like do its thing there. But when I learned that the Democrats were having their convention here in Philadelphia, I kind of like put myself out there in a different way. I said, well, maybe I can have it down there at the convention. You know, I got all the Democrats, all the big wigs, you know, coming into Philadelphia. You know, maybe that might be a good time for me to get it out there on a different level, you know, outside of the social media, which is the only place where I ever had it, you know, operate. And that was one of the reasons why I consulted the Oracle for the second time this week, for the second time since taking the class. I just wanted to see, but now when I hear Nana speaking, you know, I think I'm hearing, think I'm hearing her say as well that we can consult the Oracle for a number of things, because I didn't think that I would consult the Oracle for everything. When I hear you break things down, you know, I can, you know, in my mind, I was just consulting the Oracle with like an overall question, but not for the details, not for things that went into details. And I think I'm hearing you say, yes, you can consult the Oracle for those details as well. And
well, one of the things the reason why I encourage my students to do that is because when you're not familiar with the Oracle, sometimes you need to just go through that process of going to the details, because the Oracle knows the details and it will give you, it's sort of like how, you know, let's see, we say it's a hairball, right? Mm-hmm. So the cat is licking, you have to, don't you laugh at me, Terry.
All right, well, I'm ready for this one, come on.
I gotta use analogies. I speak in parables. So say you have a cat and the cat always licks itself, right? Every time the cat licks itself, it takes in a hair, you know, takes in some hair. Then eventually the hair becomes a hair ball, and eventually the cat throws the hair up. All right. So that's what the Oracle will do. If you don't ask the Oracle the specific questions, it will give you a hairball. Okay. Now you got a hairball, and it's full of all kinds of different, you know, if the cat's a calico, it's got all different color hair in there. Now you got to try to figure out, well, what direction do I go in? How do I understand what the Oracle's saying? Because they have encapsulated it into 2 hexagrams, and you got to figure out all the other stuff that was read in what Terry just read in terms of the 5th hexagram, and all that stuff that was there just in those couple of paragraphs is what the Oracle is saying to you inside of this situation, you know. Okay. Because we already have a familiarity with how this goes. We know this is a pre-election, we know this is this, and we know about Trump, and we know about security, and we know about, just the idea that you're going to be at a Democratic convention, but that's promoting who? Hillary, and you're going to bust up in there with an Obama book. That right there make you kind of wonder, hey, what you doing?
I'm thinking there's still some people that, even though I've been following some of the stories, it's like there's been no pictures of the Obamas and Hillary Clinton. There's some type of animosity between her and the First Lady. I'm thinking that maybe some of the true Democrats, the true believers that come through Philly, I said, you know, maybe they might be interested in the book, you know, for a number of reasons. Maybe if only for a souvenir. I said, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's definitely going to be, you know, the waters are going to be a little bit murky, you know. People want to show that they still are committed to some of the ideas with Obama. They don't want to show that they're too close to him, but they really wouldn't want to make it seem as though they've abandoned him, you know, not outwardly anyway. And so I don't know what the motives might be for them to want to buy the book. Hopefully they would just see it and come to understand that there's nothing like that out on the market, and to take the in the position that I take on it, the way I talk about it from the vantage point that I do discuss it, it's kind of like different than anything else. That's why when I was writing it, I realized that there was nobody else out there speaking from that position, you know, from like a spiritual position. That I look at, the way I look at his life, you know, I looked at his life completely different because I read a lot of the biographies at the time before I wrote it, and no one was like looking at his life and looking at how he got from point A to point B the way that I did. So I thought, I thought I was unique in that regard, but I guess we all think the same way.
No, that's not it. No, you're definitely unique, and you definitely have something to offer. It's just like the Oracle is like, but yeah, you might not want to step out there in front of those lions and them tigers and them bears like right about now.
Yeah.
you know, you might want to just kind of chill out, you know, let this cycle pass and then, you know, present your material, because at this point, that's the other thing about it. It's like timing is of the essence with stagnation. You know, because if you don't do it at the right time, you can slide back into the stagnation, or you could get yourself out there too far that you can't maintain a new day. And you can't sustain yourself now. So it's definitely about timing as well. How about you, Alex? You want to add something?
Yeah, it's about Pabi's question, and on 12, line 3, I have an interpretation, a German interpretation, and it looks like there is also a feeling of shame coming out with, there is some conflict, and I don't know if it's I'm putting this as a question. Can that be?
Yeah, I was thinking that I see where you're going, Alex, and I think that's what I was trying to kind of touch on, and that is that's an aspect of Tahuti's person, his inner knowing is guiding him, but it's also dealing with some of his own insecurities. So his inner knowing is like, do it now. And he's like, sort of, okay. And then he may not. But then his inner knowing says, well, you want to do it, but don't do it now. And then he may try. So it's like this whole back and forth, not quite sure, not quite moving, in sync with his inner knowing and moving at the time that he should move, or pull back when he should pull back. So he's kind of grappling from the 12th hexagram. It's like he's grappling with wanting to get out of this cycle of, I'm getting ready to do it, I didn't do it. Get ready to do it, I didn't do it. I get ready to do it, I didn't do it. You know, it's like I call it a rut. The 12th hexagram, you're in a rut, and it's hard to get out of it. Yeah. The rut, like you're in this place and you keep doing this thing, and you know that it's not what you really want to do, but you keep doing it anyway. Or you want to break loose, but you don't do whatever it is that you need to do to get out. So I use the example of people who go to the same job every day, do the same thing every day, and they come home and they feel the same way every day, but they won't go get a different job. They won't put in an application. They may complain a lot about the same job, doing it every day, doing the same thing. There's no joy. You get anxious, you get fearful, you get depressed, because there's no joy now. In stagnation, the joy is lost because you're in that rut now. You can't enjoy life because you're living life in a rut. So after a while, you start feeling like, I really got to get out of this. I really got to get out of this. Now, what happens too in 12 is petty arguments can take place. What do I mean by that? Well, you can't stand your job. You keep going and you at the job every day. You got attitude. You just don't feel like being there. Is no joy in your life, and you just walk around with an attitude all the time. Well, and it don't take it. So now you get the whole, because we have a term that we use called touch off. And now, you know, somebody just step on your toe or drop a pencil or just bump into you. Now you're ready to fight because the energy you got to break it. It's like, it's so whatever that there has to be a breaking point so that you can get out of it, you know? So that's one aspect of 12. The other aspect of it, which is because it's all about getting out. It's like, I got to get out. I got to get out. So the other aspect of it is that somebody will come along with a bribe. Like, hey, man, I know you don't like this job. You want to, you know, I can hook you up. You know, I can get you some, you know what I mean? You can make like $2,000-$3,000 a day. You know what I mean? You might not want to, you know what I mean? I could hook you up, you know, me and you. You know? And you be like, yeah, man, because this life sucks. You know, I got a bug life. It sucks. And so I want out. And so you have to be really careful that your higher self guides you out of the situation and not your, you know, the shadow guides you into a worse situation. So stagnation is a very, very serious hexagram. You know, and that's where that's where the danger is. That's where the advice is. That's where the guidance comes in, because the Oracle knows human nature. And human nature, if you've been in a situation long enough, like, you know, dude be like, why you stuff your wife in the refrigerator?
Wow.
Why you put her in the freezer?
That's a little strange.
He's like, what? My wife in the freezer? Wow, it's been so quiet and peaceful around here. I didn't know she missing. You know, because you just get to a point where you can't take it anymore, and you do something rash because you got to break the monotony. You know, so you know, so that's the other aspect of it too in the 12th hexagram. You know, where you do something rash and now you're in big trouble because now you know, you know, so that's all in 12 too. So like by the time you get to the 5th line and the 6th line, you're sort of getting there now. Now you're in the position now where you're beginning to gain control over your life, because you feel like your life is not yours. You just whatever. It's such a routine that you're like a robot. And so you can't grow when you're like that. There's no growth there. That's why it's called stagnation. And then you get gradual progress, which is like, okay, I call that the watch the wall breathe hexagram. You know the wall's breathing, but you sure can't. It's going to take a while. Take a little while to get up out of that. It's going to take a little while to get up out of it. So that's why I was saying when 53 followed stagnation, then it's telling me that whatever is holding you up is something that you got to do some deep inner journey to find out what it is that's stopping you from taking that step. And then it's like, you can't, it's like, like they keep telling you, man, you gotta go. You're like, no. Oh, you remember that cartoon when we were growing up? I don't know if Terry remembers it because he's such a young dude over there. But there was a cartoon about the vulture, and she had these little chicks, and she was teaching them all how to, get out the nest and go get there. Go do what they supposed to do to feed themselves, to take care of themselves. And it was this one little vulture. He refused to leave the nest. He say, no. And his mom finally, because he was just, everybody's growing and developing. Him, he's no. So finally one day his mom just kicked him out the nest. And when she kicked him out, he had to fly, But he went out and he came home. You know what he came home with? He said, I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. You remember that? Dun, dun, dun. He brought home a baby not a bumblebee, but a baby one. So he still wasn't ready to get out the nest. So, so you have to go out there, get out there when you're ready. So he went out there too soon. He wasn't ready.
arrested development.
That's right. He was. That's right. He wasn't ready. So, are you cool, man?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's a lot of information, but it's the information that is the most important, because the more information that we have, the better we can make decisions. And so, I mean, I value information. Information is powerful. I take on all information because, especially when you want to make precise decisions, you know, the more information you have, the more likely it is that you can make a solid decision.
Informed decision, exactly. Imagine what it would be like if these delegates and these voters went to the Oracle and asked the Oracle to guide them on who to vote for. Imagine what that would be like.
That would be beautiful.
Probably wouldn't nobody get elected because none of them scoundrels.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
none of them. I don't know. Talk about the lesser of two evils. Lord have mercy. I don't know where you would even. I mean, the Oracle's like, okay, you got anybody else you want to consult on? Because who else is running?
Yeah, our political system is in bad shape. Ugh.
Yes, we in bad shape over here, Alex. Our electoral system is messed up. we catching a bad break over here. So yeah, the Oracle thing would really help a lot if we had that. So one of my teachers said before we had the Oracle, we went through life being ambushed by it. We just didn't know, And I do believe that we have our guardians, we have our guardian angels, our guides, and they do take us, they do gather us up, and they do carry us and help us along the way. But we sure get knocks and bumps and bruises too. And the Oracle can help us to at least avert some of those bumps and bruises.
I believe that.
Yeah. So Alex, I was saying that I guess you heard me, but I was saying that we're going to do 2 more classes.
Yeah.
Okay, just to kind of make up for lost time. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to bring up before we close?
No, I was wondering because of this the whole discussion, and I think it's a dilemma for Pabi because it's also, if you are intellectual honest about something, because he made, as I understand, a more scientific research about something. Mm-hmm. To bring that up, but in this last year, so many things changed about this person, and to fix that, and to how he can present in a very honest, intellectual way what he brings. It's not easy. It's also a dilemma somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a reflection. I don't know if
Yeah, things have changed between, then and now. Not so much the material inside the text. The material inside the text is still pretty much really relevant. But my position about the president and, it really changed because basically, and I'm still, pro-Obama in certain ways, because I understand, what happens when, people of goodwill and good intent, when they come up against this type of power, they come up against this type of power, and, it changes a lot of people. And so basically, and so that's my only, not drawback, but that's, like if you're picking up anything about, how I still feel, my feelings, it's that they have changed from the time when I wrote that into how I think about today, because now I believe that his message and his goodness, a lot of that has been co-opted. A lot of the ideas that he had, they were co-opted, and there was a lot of compromise. There was so much compromise. And I don't want to get into the politics, but some of the compromise, we hear Bernie Sanders, he's talking about that now. He's talking about and he's not saying how Barack Obama compromised. He's not using the name, but for the most part, Barack Obama, he compromised on everything, all the good things that the people thought that he would represent once he came into office. And so I changed in that way, but I still haven't, my thinking still hasn't changed as far as his spiritual foundation and the type of knowledge that he gained under the tutelage of Reverend Wright. A person that he prayed as a young boy. He prayed to have a black male figure in his life. And, you know, his father wanted to assume a political position of power, and he wasn't able to. And so it's almost though, you know, that Obama was able to carry out one of the dreams of his father, which is why he entitled his first autobiography, Dreams from My Father. All the political aspirations that he has, they were transferred onto him from his father.
Well, you know, I think from a spiritual perspective, that the man that we know or we've come to know as Barack Hussein Obama, he has a very strong apparatus when it comes to the spiritual perspective. Let me put it that way. Yeah. And I know that because of my own, like I dreamed about him. Okay. When he first stepped out there. But just the whole idea that he comes from Kenya, his family line, they needed somebody like him at that particular time in the cycle of this country because of the charisma that he has. Mm-hmm. And charisma is a very spiritual and very potent aspect of a person's personality. You know, like somebody else could say the exact same things that he said, made the exact same promises, and it wouldn't have mesmerized the masses. And that's what he did. He was hypnotic. I mean, even to this day, I can barely I'm like, okay, you know, I gotta, you know, because he has that. He has a magic, and they chose him because he had that. These people that pick our leaders, they know who they're picking. We may not know who they're picking. Yeah. And we may not have the consciousness to see past the agenda or see what the agenda is, but they know what they're doing.
Yes.
And when they chose him for good reason, because they knew that he had a specialness about him, you know, that would help him to lock him in so that they could get to do whatever it is they needed to do while he was the face of it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so, and he had the charm, he had the swagger, he had everything, the appeal. I mean, you know, he just was, you know, the most famous man in the world, you know. And so they knew that they knew that when they met him when he was 20, when they met him when he was 30, they knew that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and so they allowed him to evolve. So when they do that, they watch you while you're evolving. Mm-hmm. They watch, monitor, they checking in, they see what you up to, you know what I mean? And then they go, okay, it's time. He's ripe for the picking now.
Yeah. They sent him to Columbia, sent him to Harvard. They protected him all through that whole period. So they selected him and pretty much watched him. I guess they were watching him, you know, even probably before that.
Yeah, of course.
Going to Y from the time he was over there.
Yeah, they know. They know. It's a bloodline thing too. So they know they don't let their peoples get but so far out of the loop anyway. So they knew who he was or who he is. They knew his power. They used it to face in the place to cover up the agenda that they already had, because they couldn't have done that with Bush. Half the stuff that went down couldn't have happened under Bush. I mean, Bush got his 9/11. That was about it. You know what I mean? But other than that, he couldn't have got half of the stuff done.
Oh no, because Obama's dropping drones down. They got drones flying all over the world. I mean, killing people left and right every day.
And he's still on the, what is it? He's still on the Man of the Year. He's on the Time magazine.
Time Man of the Year.
Two together. How do you do that? You know. And he's very protected. I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
They will not, it just won't get out. So, I mean, that's the magic of it. You know, like we may have, as we go through our lives in this realm, receive feedback from our friends and family about how this psychic metaphysical thing is a bunch of crap. But these people in power use it 24/7.
Oh, yeah. They use it all the time.
They use it all the time, and they know the power of it.
And remember Nancy Reagan? Nancy Reagan didn't let a day go by without her consulting the oracles.
Really?
She consulted them for, like, if President Reagan, if he was going to be signing important documents, she consulted the oracles to find out what would be the best days for him to sign those. Yeah, she even had him come to the White House. She had people come.
Do you know what she used? The tarot? Do you know what oracle system she used?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm thinking that she used tarot cards and And I know she had a spiritual advisor, but I'll look into it and try to get some more information so I can give it to you. But yeah, I know that certain days, I was watching an autobiography on her on the History Channel. They said certain days when he would sign certain laws into being, she would pick those days. It would be certain things that she would pick those out through her spiritual advisor. And so she was definitely into that. And I remember the church was up in arms back then in the 80s when they had heard about it, that she was using these people. Yeah, but she was deeply involved in those things. Nancy Reagan was.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is, ain't it, Terry? It's really interesting. It's eye-opening, in fact. Yeah. It's eye-opening because they have their rituals, and some of them are rituals of the light and some of them are not so light.
Well, it's funny that we're talking about this, and I'm not going to make this too long and drawn out, but somebody that I know, he owns a company here in the States. It's called Super Radio. And what Super Radio is, there's certain radio shows that syndicate all across the country. Wendy Williams, I'm sure you heard of her, was one of his big shows.
Okay.
But his wife, she's from India. And he was Jewish. His wife was from India. I mean, not saying the relevance to that, but she practiced dreams and she understood dreams and things like that. So through his whole career, how he started off, once he met her, she guided him through his dream and her dream, and he became successful. And I mean, I wouldn't really take him as being a really religious and spiritual kind of guy. He's a businessman, but he used the power of dreams to guide him through his life. And those dreams that his wife would interpret and kind of guide him made him uber successful in the radio business here, And so saying that to say, you're talking about Nancy Reagan, I mean, us having the power of something like the I Ching, because it's people that use it and they're not using it for a good purpose, where we have this fortunate to know about the I Ching and to use it to guide us through our lives. It's amazing, because it's a lot of people that's using the same thing to control people, and some people are using it for good. But I mean, hopefully we all have great intentions and what we're using it for, and guiding us through our lives that can not only help us, but the people around us as well. That was pretty much
You remind me of what's that? I forget that lady's name. She would say, "That's the truth."
I can't go matter of fact on it, but it's just my opinion.
I hear you. That's great. I mean, yeah, it's true, because in the spirit world there is no good or evil. It just is.
Right.
It's how you use it that determines whether or not you're going to have an outcome that's beneficial or detrimental. But it's there's no good and evil in the spirit world. It just is. It's like a knife. You have a knife, you can use it for good or you can use it but the knife itself it's neither good or evil.
It's just an object.
It's just an object.
It was made for whatever purpose you use the will.
Yes, exactly. So how do you use your spiritual powers? Do you use them for the benefit of yourself and others, or do you use them for the detriment of yourself and others? One of the things about it that I like about the I Ching is that I have yet to find it to be corruptible. To me, I haven't seen it to do anything in that regard. I've seen people try to spy on each other. I've seen people try to force the oracle to say something. I've seen people wanting the oracle to respond yes to a question, and they keep asking, and the oracle after a while will start fussing at them. Because you can't, it won't allow you to manipulate it.
Yeah, the oracle shook me up. I did it's actually been about 2 weeks since this is the first time I've thrown the coin since the last time I saw you. Right after that, I threw the coin. But not to get into it, but what the oracle said to me, it really made me kind of sit back, and I was like, I'm not asking no more questions. I don't really like what you said to me, first of all. Two, I'm like, do I really want to know this? So it's just like one of those things where I was like, I'm a little, because it's telling you the truth. And sometimes we don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to see those things that we deny to our own self. And I think the Oracle, and I'll be the first one to admit, I punked out. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm out of here. But now, coming back today, I feel real open to where I'm like, okay, I can do this again. And whatever the answer is, whatever the Oracle is saying, it's only for the benefit of me to know what I should and shouldn't be doing. So.
The other thing I want to also mention is that it's a very intimate thing that happens when you toss the coins. Also, when you share your reading. So I appreciate you all sharing your readings, but it's an intimate thing. It's a personal thing. It's very personal. And initially, when people start using the Oracle, they get really excited and they want to share it with everybody. Look what I got so far. And after a while, when they start seeing how personal it gets, they start going in the corner. Yeah, Nate, what you doing? I hear you shaking the coin. What you doing in there, kind of thing. Because then you're like, well, I gotta, me and my oracles, we gotta do a personal thing right here. So I want to thank you for sharing. I want to thank you because you don't know. It's the same thing with dreams. You don't know how much you're revealing when you say, I got this hexagram and I got that hexagram. When you're talking to someone who's been using the Oracle or someone who's pretty psychic, you don't really know how much about yourself you're revealing. It's respect that we have for each other as we reveal these readings with one another, and an understanding of how intimate and how personal this workshop is. This is something that, so we value it. I respect you. Namaste, as they say. And this is a process of unfolding that is delicate, it's personal, it's intimate, it's private, it's all those good things. So in that regard, I want to I thank you very much, Brother Tahuti, for sharing yourself with us. You shared yourself with us. You shared your what do you call it? That inner space within you. You shared it, and we appreciate that.
And I want to thank you, Alex, Tony. I want to thank you guys.
Terry.
Terry, I'm sorry, Terry. And I'm
don't let Nana fool you and call me Tony.
I know. And then I was going to say this name, John, but I want to thank all of you guys because, I know it's very intimate, and all of you guys said something that really went into the heart of my soul. Stared me, quite some, and not so, in some disturbing ways at times, but. And I just want to thank you for it because I know that that's the power of true healing. Healing has to go to the core of things. And I know that I'm not a part of this for any false way or any egotistical way. So that's when real healing takes place. It has to take place on that level. And I just want to thank you guys as well for sharing and just clarifying the question, making the question clear, the one that I had. And giving me an answer that I could look at and say, okay, yeah, this is true. This is what's resonating as being true. And because this would have been a question and I would have been probably struggling with, but it's like now I have the, I have the benefit of having a group of people share their ideas and share how the Oracle is speaking to them, regarding this, my situation as well. So I'm very happy for that. But next week, hopefully, I'll have some more questions. And, so basically, and I know I'm putting myself out there, and I feel the vulnerability, and I know, and it's definitely going into the soul, hitting my soul in a way that we wouldn't have enough time for me to talk about what it's touching on.
You ain't lying about that, bro.
We would have, and then I don't think I have enough napkins around me right now. I don't think I have enough napkins in my house to where the tears that might come from all that. But definitely, yeah, I do definitely appreciate all of this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, I'm so happy to see you. You persevere, man. You persevere.
Oh, yeah.
Do it all, you persevere.
I'm so happy that you have me in this meeting. Yes, thank you so much. Because as I say to you, I have not the opportunity. I never had the opportunity to speak about the I Ching or here, but I'm here also. So it's great to have this.
All righty. Well, I'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Same time, same station.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you all. Okay, guys.
All right, gentlemen,
Peace and
you have a good day.
All right.
Good seeing
All
you.
right.
Okay, thank you.
Blessings.
All right.
Thank you. Blessings.
See you guys.